Dan Illman, Matt Bernier, special coverage of the late pick 4 on Iowa Derby Friday at Prairie Meadows. The sequence races 7 through 10. It's a 50-cent minimum play, 15% takeout. Matt, it begins with race number 7, 8:44 Central, approximate post time. It's an optional claiming race. You love a horse in here.
Single, baby. Single. 7, steel cut, class relief. All things considered, class relief. You look at some of the horses that she's been facing in her most recent races, and then also you look at the way that this race is going to be run. I think you're talking about a barbecue up front. I think she's going to sit just off, and she's going to come and make a run. She is a stone-cold single for me. If she loses, I lose.
We don't have our ticket maker plays here, but the way I'm going to do it from a ticket maker standpoint is yes, I do agree that Steel Cut's going to be very dangerous, and she's going to be an A for me. But one of 2 A's, because I think the number 2, Girl Power Speed, is very dangerous. I know you think there's a barbecue in here, but Girl Power's got the speed nearest the rail, and boy, she has been awesome in her last 2 races at Prairie Meadows. She's won those races by a combined 18 3/4 lengths, far and away the best Buyer speed figures of her career. And maybe if this filly is able to outfoot the others and discourage them, she's going to be dangerous.
If she wins, she wins by 10, basically every time. All 3 of her lifetime victories, the smallest margin of victory was most recently at 9 1/4 lengths. So if she makes the front, and that was my only hang-up with her, and the only reason I didn't even bother going back up, was if she doesn't make the front, I don't think she can win. She hasn't shown that she can anyway. If she makes the front, it might be showtime.
I also have a backup in the 4, Strive, who ran well returning to dirt most recently. That was her first start off a very long layoff, and she has enough tactical ability to sit off of the pace if there is a scrum up front. Strive at 5-1 has won all of her races on turf. She's a maiden on dirt, but I thought her last race, good enough fig to put her in the mix. So you're singling the 7. I'm using the 2 and 7 as A's and the 4 as a B. Second leg of this pick 4 at Prairie Meadows on Friday is the $100,000 Iowa Distaff. Where are you going?
Well, I'm using 4 of them in here. I think Brooklyn's Way is the horse to beat on paper. I mean, look, she's got all the fast races to her name. I've always been a big fan of Walkabout. Now, I think Walkabout is getting some much-needed class relief in this spot. It's also worth noting Brooklyn's Way is coming off of a long layoff, so there's no guarantee that we're going to get the same horse that we saw last time most recent. So I'm going to use the 2. I'm going to use the 7. But a couple of kind of oddball horses I'm also going to use. One of them is the 4, Divine Duchess. I feel like Divine Duchess, you look at the only 3 times she's routed on dirt. You've got 2 victories, and she lost by 3/4 of a length in the other instance. So she's a little slow on paper, but again, she's the kind of horse that could blow this whole thing up. And then the 1, I think my woman from Tokyo, you look at some of the recent form. You take out those 2 sprint races, and you can do it in formulator. You can kind of gray out certain things. My last 4 dirt routes are all victories.
Those are only 4 dirt routes.
Her only 4 dirt routes. She's 4 for 4 at the mile on 16th distance, or if you want to include the mile 70, which I basically do. She's another one. I think she's going to get a little bit overlooked. I'm going to use her.
Iowa bred taking on Open Company is the 1, My Woman from Tokyo. But you know something? I agree with you 100%. I'm using her as one of my 2 A's in this race. She was just so visually impressive when gotten an opportunity to stretch out around 2 turns in her last race. You said that Brooklyn's Way is the horse to beat. There's no doubt about it. She was really good when we last saw her at Indiana Grand. The problem is it's almost been a year, and you wonder what you're going to get off the layoff. If she returns with that same race, she's going to win this one for fun, but it's a big if off the layoff. Those are my 2 A's. My B is the 6, Divine Elegance, who was no match for Walkabout last time out in the Grade 3 Matron, but this is a solid enough filly, and if the pace is hot, maybe she'll come with a run. I liked some of her races at Oaklawn Park.
Yeah, and you know what? This is the kind of thing where you look at it and you say, from a fig standpoint, she's not that far off. You're going to get her off the layoff here. I have no knock against this filly.
Iowa Derby is your DRF.com formulator race of the day for Friday. That means, friends, if you head on over to the Race of the Day event page on DRF.com, you'll be able to download free formulator past performances for the Iowa Derby, and you'll get our in-depth analysis video of the race. From a pick 4 standpoint, who is it?
Well, if we're playing ticket maker wise, I would only use 2 A's. I would use the 3 McCormick, who's my top pick, and I'd also use the 1 Petrov, just because Petrov is strictly the horse to beat in this spot. From a backup standpoint, though, I would be using Impressive Edge, even though I don't love him. And I'd also be using Silver Dust, because Silver Dust, I feel like he's the kind of horse that if he ever finally puts it all together, he's capable of winning a race like this.
He's a tappet. He's a little bit nutty, but you know there's something there. Like you, though, I think the 2 main contenders in this race are the 1 Petrov, the 3 McCormick. I'm using both of them as A's in this pick 4 wager. The anchor leg is race number 10, 6 furlongs for Iowa breds. It's a condition claimer, non-winners of 3 life. $15,000 is the the tag. I used 3 deep.
Used 3. I only used 2. I'm going to go with the 2, Free of Burden.
It's my top pick.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting horse in here. I understand you've only got a couple of victories, but again, this entire field is a bunch of non-winners at 2 life. I look at it and say there's a real chance that this horse can just go out there and take this field gate to wire. I want to have that horse. And the other one that I'm going to use is the 7 in this spot if I can flip through my PPs and finally get there. Thank you. The best name in the entire field, Jaff Mill's Inferno by Jaff Mill. Stands for $1,000. I think this is an interesting runner in this spot. If for some reason the 2 can't see out the distance, which again, 6 furlongs, that's not going to be the problem. But if there's some other pace that comes onto this spot, I think the 7 could take advantage.
Free of Burden speed makes her very, very dangerous in my opinion. I'm using her. Jaff Mill's Inferno goes out for Carl Broberg, who wins oodles of races. Yeah. Although Jaff Mill's Inferno last time out at 5 furlongs really had an ideal trip and a great ride where she just rode the rail throughout and shot on up. And I wonder if she wins if she had to go outside. So maybe she's a little bit dressed up at 2-1 on the morning line, but she's consistent and in good form for a big trainer. The 9 Trolley is a horse that I'm also going to use a little bit. I like the turf to dirt move for Trolley. Maybe 6 furlongs is a little bit short, but the last time she stepped on the dirt, I thought she ran okay. She was pressing the pace. She took over the lead on the turn, and then she flattened out. Maybe the turn will work out for her.
The only reason I didn't use this mare is because I think there's just a significant difference between her wet track form and her dry track form. And look, maybe if you get some water, then you're going to want to throw her in. But for me, that was the only reason I was against her.
Fun sequence on Friday evening at Prairie Meadows. Of course, the main event is the Iowa Derby, but this pick 4 sequence, 50-cent minimum wager, 15% takeout, races 7 through 10. It kicks off at 8:44 Central. Best of luck.